Good evening, everybody. Happy Thursday from the Treasure Coast. It was another beautiful day, 85 degrees. And I'm here with two of my great colleagues, Will Shu from Evolution Mortgage and Katie Urban from Link Real Estate. I'm Jonathan Castlane, and we're coming to you live here from the Liberty Title Good Vibes studio here in beautiful Port St. Lucie. We're here to outline and present the Relo Downlow, which we hope is a very informative and helpful understanding of the closing process if you're considering moving to the great state of Florida here. I wanted to start the presentation basically with a video from the city of Port St. Lucie and a great visualization of how and why we live here in the beautiful Treasure Coast. Beautiful video. I got goosebumps. How about you guys?
Loved it.
That was good.
It's a great area. So we're going to start in reverse order here. The title company is the last part of the closing process. Will and the lender part is the middle part of the process. But I wanted to introduce Katie Urban and the beginning part of the process and why finding a great realtor is tantamount to what we're doing here.
So thank you, Jonathan. So I am the top piece of bread for this little real estate sandwich here. So as Jonathan just kindly introduced me, my name is Katie Urban. I'm a broker associate with Link Real Estate here in Port St. Lucie, Florida, which is on the beautiful Treasure Coast. And I am actually from here. I'm a very rare breed, but I am native. Not a transplant. Yeah. I'm from here, like 4th or 5th generation St. Lucian. Like,
who better than you to understand the real estate market?
Absolutely.
I thought so too. And I thought this was the perfect opportunity for me to express how amazing the Treasure Coast is. Yeah. So let's get into where is the Treasure Coast? Because a lot of people don't know. So Treasure Coast is on the east coast of Florida, right along the coast. We got that beautiful beach coastline. Did you guys actually know why it's called the Treasure Coast?
No.
So 1700s, don't quote me exactly, 1600s, but we had a lot of the ships carrying Spanish galleons and treasure. And of course, you know, they sunk. Where does the treasure go? Goes to the bottom of the ocean right along our coastline. So it's very possible if you're spending a day out on the beach and you got your metal detector, you're swimming around, you can find a gold coin or two, maybe a
that would be amazing. I go with my children to the beach. We also find shark's teeth.
And that's why I don't go to the beach.
Yeah. Fair enough.
That's why I stay and I enjoy a nice poolside day.
You're a risk manager. I got it.
Yeah. I like to keep my limbs intact. But speaking of enjoying the Florida weather on the beach, on the pool, whatever you're doing, you could pretty much do that year round. Because our average temperature is about, give me a number. What do you think? Average temp?
I'm going to bet 70.
Yeah?
65.
Okay. All right. So Will would win, closest without going over, right? If we were on whatever that game show is.
Jeopardy?
Not Jeopardy. No. What's the one with Plinko?
Price
Drew Carey. Right. Thank you. Price is Right. Bob Barker.
Sorry, I'm showing
Spay
my
neuter
age.
your pets.
Guy gets it.
But yeah, so we're actually 73 average temp. We have been experiencing some cold fronts lately, but on average, we're sitting at about 73.
Nice.
So if you're dialing in from the fridges northeast, we're happy that you're here. Hopefully our sunny and radiance is coming through in the webcast, but 73 degrees is a wonderful temperature.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Bring your flip-flops and your Mets t-shirts because you can wear them here. Yeah. So some other nice things about the Treasure Coast that people are definitely interested in. So we actually now have our own international airport. American Airlines.
Yeah.
JetBlue.
Yep.
I think we have direct flights now to like Boston, New York, right there from Vero Beach, which how far would you say that is?
30 minutes north, 25 miles north.
Yeah, it's Miami traffic. Yeah.
Right.
Very close. So we have our own airport here. And we're kind of right in the middle of Orlando and West Palm. So we're not Central Florida. We're kind of south-ish Florida.
Right.
But yeah, we're kind of a nice
PBL,
balance of
definitely an
everything.
international airport, 45 minutes south of here. And Orlando is what, an hour and a half north.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Way
Yeah.
to Disney.
Disney. Yes.
Those little things called
Yeah,
Disney.
because Florida equals Disney.
Yeah. I love, this is my favorite chart you have in this deck, hopefully, which is up on the screen here. We're on page 2 of the deck.
Yeah, so this is a really interesting chart to look at, and this is our sort of median home price by county. So we're right there along that coast in that, not darkest blue, but a nice dark blue color, where we're actually below the median price in the United States, which sits at 420, and we're actually like 4 and under on the Treasure Coast. So what is that, 10.5%? Below the national median household purchase price. I mean,
Still a good time to buy down here in Florida.
still definitely what most people would consider affordable.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Excellent.
So yeah, the next page, lots of numbers for our number folks, if you're more of an analytical number person, but it does give you an interesting snapshot of the difference between the 3 different counties we have here on the Treasure Coast, which we are going to get into more of the vibe of those counties. But obviously you can see right off the bat, St. Lucie County is a much bigger county, much bigger area, much bigger population. That is our growth engine. Our population has soared compared to Indian River and Martin, where, growth's a little bit slower.
Almost 400,000, basically double Martin County and River County.
Yeah, mostly double. So, and I mean, it's a huge county.
Right.
And then, looking at our age demographics, St. Lucie is also the youngest with a median age of 45, very family friendly, where, Indian River and Martin is better for the older crowd. But obviously still very affordable. If you look at the median home price today from our previous map, which was 2024, these are, kind of our updated figures, between 400,000 and 500,000. And average household income is also pretty steady between 71 and 80,000 spread across all 3 counties.
One thing that you did mention, Katie, about family friendly, what I noticed after moving here, because I've got a toddler, is I lived in Savannah for about 5.5 years, but after I moved here, I noticed there were a lot of very kid friendly parks, and we're not talking about 5-year-old mulch with rusted swings, like Pioneer Park, for example, is absolutely amazing. Water park included. And that's just one, right, of the many family-friendly parks that are just great to have kids for. So, yeah, definitely family-friendly if you have kids.
Yeah. And did you guys catch that inflatable?
Oh, yeah, like world's biggest inflatable park.
Not.
Yeah.
It's on US.
Tell us more.
Yeah, in Port St. Lucie, at the Mid-Florida Event Center that we have.
Yep.
Right now, they have the world's largest inflatable park.
Yeah.
So you just go and you get to play on a bunch of inflatables, kids or adults.
Yeah, if you drive on US 1, you can't miss it. There's a
giant duck.
There's a duck the size of this building, probably bigger.
Yeah.
Honestly, you can't miss it.
Yeah.
Well, I always think about when you buy real estate, you got to think about like macro catalysts that are occurring in the area to really catalyze higher values. So we talked about Vero, another international airport. There's obviously a high-speed train called the Brightline now in Florida. I think there's 2 stops now scheduled for the Treasure Coast, Stewart and
possibly Fort Pierce.
possibly Fort Pierce.
That's still up
Those
here.
that would be a massive catalyst for home values around here.
Yeah.
There's a new surf park going in Fort Pierce. I want
Koa.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Koa
10,
Surf
11,
Park.
12 acres.
Yeah.
For Ship Park. There's a lot of development that's still sort of pre-construction. So we think about in 2, 3, 4 years from now, I think values definitely be higher.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And I would agree based on some of the growth plans that seem to be going on and the amenities that they're bringing to the area for sure.
Yeah.
So I love this slide here on slide 4, the vibe, which is important. Like, where does everyone fit in? So you have 3 different stanzas for people.
Yeah. So, a lot of people, when they're looking at the Treasure Coast, you kind of might make an assumption because of how close everything is that it's very similar, and that's not the case. So our Indian River County, which is, furthest north, we've got Vero Beach, we've got Sebastian. That's our kind of coastal, chic, beachy vibe, I would say. It does have the lowest median price point. It also is an older community, so a little bit slower, but very like coastal beachy town.
Right.
Then we have St. Lucie County, which we kind of mentioned before, is sort of the growth engine, right? Very family friendly. It's the youngest of all 3 counties, and that's Port St. Lucie and Fort Pierce. Lot going on in Port St. Lucie. Yeah, a lot of development, a lot of growth. More, I would call it metropolitan to describe St. Lucie compared to other places on the Treasure Coast. And then finally, Martin County. So that's Stewart, that's Palm City, that's Jensen Beach. And that is really sort of that old Florida luxury. A lot of waterfront property. So if you like boating, I would check out Martin County. Sailfish capital of the world is Sewell's Point. And there's some money there too. So yeah, definitely just kind of figure out what your niche is, and we've got something for you on the Treasure Coast for sure.